The Prime Minister says he and the police commissioner have had strong meetings concerning crime-fighting strategies. This is Tall Pines MP Leslie Miller says crime has the entire country in fear. The deputy leader of the F&M also speaks out in the wake of the latest U.S. crime advisory. Plus, straw market vendors plan to enhance the industry. We've got those stories and a lot more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and MB12 starts right now. Top news tonight on the heels of a record murder rate in 2015 and 2 murders so far for the year. Prime Minister Perry Christie said today he and Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade have had strong meetings over the past 2 days concerning new crime-fighting strategies, and he expects Commissioner Greenslade to speak to the issue in his annual report. Christie also revealed today National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage is in Washington, D.C., meeting at the FBI concerning crime in the Bahamas.
I've indicated I'm not going to pretend to be the Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner of Police have had very strong meetings with me in the last 48 hours. I expect the Commissioner of Police in his annual report to speak to what's going to happen. I've already said to the people of the Bahamas what to expect.
Christie's comments come amid mounting concern over the nation's crime rate. Last month, he said CCTV will play a vital role in the government's new crime-fighting strategy and said he can't have a country where people are being shot down like dogs. This came after the Prime Minister had also indicated the new crime-fighting strategy may impose on people's freedom of movement, but he didn't offer many details concerning that. This week, the U.S. Embassy released yet another crime advisory, warning American citizens not to do business with jet ski rental operators. The warning came after an unlicensed jet ski operator was charged in the magistrate's court with the rape of an American tourist. When asked about the crime warning, Christie said Nottage and the U.S. Embassy chargé d'affaires, Lisa Johnson, are presently in the United States, meeting with the FBI on crime.
Dr. Nottage and the charge d'affaires are now yesterday and today at the FBI headquarters in Washington, where they are reviewing certain matters that will be important to what we do here in the Bahamas.
Christie, who spoke to reporters outside Sapodilla restaurant following a luncheon hosted by the Salvation Army, also briefly responded to questions concerning value-added tax collection and the national debt, which has increased to nearly $6.5 billion. Christie said details will come during the next budget presentation in Parliament.
I wouldn't speak about making any judgments about VAT and the national debt until the next budget. That's when the review is made. That is when everything is put in place. To be speculative, to talk now about how you match them all together, those adjustments are made for the budget. That's when the Minister of Finance will speak to it.
Crime has the entire nation living in fear. The words of Tall Pines MP Leslie Miller, who today said crime has gotten so bad it's as if no one is safe. Miller said if the government doesn't get it together now, he sees the Bahamas going down the same path as countries like Jamaica. Kyle Joaquin reports.
We caught up with Tall Pines MP Leslie Miller today to talk about an issue that he's been very vocal on: crime. He said the issue has become such a big problem that everyone in the country seems to be afraid. And so much so that he said even he, at certain hours of the night, is afraid to come out of his home.
Everybody's in fear in this country. Everybody. But we got to, as a society, deal with it.
And on the heels of another U.S. warning on crime in the Bahamas, Miller said, frankly, he sees the Bahamas going down the same road as countries like Jamaica.
Listen, I said in Parliament over and repeatedly, I see the Bahamas going down the same road as Jamaica did 40 years ago. It starts with the little things domestically, then it goes into the tourism sector. It is now there.
Miller says he, like many others, are disappointed in the crime-fighting effort.
Listen, by 8 o'clock I try to be in my home, okay? I think every woman is very concerned, especially my concern is for the mothers, okay? Where women are now afraid to stop on a traffic light. Fellas that come and snatch your chain, they will take your watch off. And now they're taking your vehicles. Yes, I'm concerned.
There were 149 murders in 2015 and 2 so far this year. Miller has himself lost a child to violence. Then there's the conversation of regular civilians having guns. While he didn't go as far as to say the country's gun laws need to be revisited, Miller did say this.
And I think sooner or later, if it doesn't stop, the citizens of this country is going to demand that they have handguns. You have a right to protect yourself. Why should I be unprotected as a Bahamian citizen? And a fella come and put gun to my head, as they have done 3 times, to my head, and I have no recourse. He has the upper hand on me. And this is why you have the fight in the United States right now with people saying they have a right to carry arms under the Second Amendment. I'm just saying, I don't think our citizens want to get to that point where every house has to be armed. But you have the right to defend your family. The fellas who have guns and we have none, we are at a grave disadvantage. They could take your life, and most of them do, unfortunately. You don't mind the fella robbing you, because you don't want to be robbed, but they want to rob you and then kill you.
He brought up the murder of 4th grade Queens College teacher Joyelle McIntosh and the fact that police believe it was a random act of violence. Miller once again called for capital punishment to be enforced, saying the punishment should match the crime. But there are 2 groups of people in the way. He said parliamentarians and the Privy Council in the UK.
I need to just make it clear as to why is it that we have not been able to implement our laws when the Privy Council is asking every country in the Commonwealth to do what is necessary to protect and enhance the welfare of their people, i.e., let us know what it is you implement in your laws to say that this week, which is what we consider, not to be the voice of the voice. If you kill someone without an argument or what have you, you should be hung. And it's, I mean, you know, it's foolishness, but the voice of the voice. You can't make that decision for my country. That is for my country to make that decision, not 12 men in London.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
A police constable and a Royal Bahamas Defense Force Marine were arrested Tuesday night in connection with the alleged sexual assault of a woman in western New Providence, police revealed last night. The incident took place shortly after 10 p.m. When reached for comment, Commissioner Police Ellison Greenslade declined to comment on the matter. The commissioner is expected to hold his annual Meet the Press later this month. He told our news team that he will address the matter then. The latest arrests underscored concerns relating to sexual assault, which were already heightened after police reported the alleged rape of an American woman on Saturday. Jet ski operator, 29-year-old Kevin Romer, was charged in relation to that matter on Tuesday. The reported victim in the incident on Tuesday night is a Bahamian woman, police said. 2014, there were 75 cases of rape reported to police, 12 cases of attempted rape, and 101 cases of unlawful sexual intercourse. Well, after 2 men were arrested in connection with the murder of volleyball coach Devin Smith, one of those men was charged in the magistrate's court today. Smith was stabbed and beaten to death late last year. Simone Davis was in court during the arraignment and filed this report.
Lamar Albury is the 25-year-old man who was charged with the brutal murder of national volleyball coach Devin Smith. As he stood before Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt this afternoon, he was not required to enter a plea.
Albury, seen in the black pullover sweater, reportedly turned himself into police Monday night, shortly before officers of the Select Enforcement Unit also arrested a 61-year-old man in connection with the murder. According to police reports, on December 20th of last year, the 43-year-old volleyball coach was found dead on the floor of his St. Albans Drive apartment by a relative around 2:30 that afternoon. While on the crime scene, Chief Superintendent Paul Roll said a relative used a key to open the front door of the apartment where they found his lifeless body, and there were no signs of forced entry. At the time, police were unable to determine exactly when Smith was killed and suspected that he may have been dead for at least a day. Smith was the past president of the New Providence Volleyball Association and an associate at Pickett Bank and Trust Limited. He was also head coach of the Bahamas' senior men's national volleyball team. During the arraignment, Ferguson Pratt informed Aubrey, who was represented by attorney Wayne Monroe QC, that due to the nature of the crime, he would not be required to enter a plea. Albury was emotionless as he learned that he would be remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Ferguson Pratt ordered that Albury return return to court on the 24th of February for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
Minister of Transport and Aviation Glenys Hannah Martin has fired back at Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner in a scathing statement, accusing Butler Turner of launching a disgusting and vile attack. Butler Turner had contended yesterday that Hannah Martin missed the point regarding the controversy surrounding jet ski operators following the alleged rape of an American tourist. The incident prompted the U.S. Embassy to issue an advisory urging Americans not to patronize operators. Well, Hannah Martin said Loretta Butler Turner has proven in her recent personal and disgusting attack on me that she is the most nasty, vicious, and vile political opportunist that I have encountered in all my many years. Mrs. Butler Turner should know my record speaks for itself, both in my ministerial portfolio and as a citizen of the country that I love. My record is seen in my entire life's involvement, which includes a life before politics, in my genuine advocacy for fairness and justice, and in my defense of the defenseless, including the marginalized and women and children. Hannah Martin added, unlike Mrs. Butler Turner, I am not a chronic talking head fueled by ugly ambition. Frankly, I find her political tactics to be despicable.